How you doing? Hey. How's everybody doing today? Listen, I am doing another author cast from the park. Praise God for another beautiful day. Hello. So listen, today we're going to be talking about how to identify the target audience for your book, okay? And the reason why this is so important is because when you know who your target audience actually is, it helps you in terms of what you're going to write about, how you're going to write about it, how you're going to find the people to read it, and all of that good stuff. If this is your first time ever coming to one of my author casts, my name is Tamika Hall. I am the founder and CEO of Tamika Inc. I'm the chief designer of Tamika Inc. as well, and we work directly with faith-based authors all around the globe. So I'm really excited to be able to come to you today with another author cast and to hopefully help you take your book, whether it's already written or you're in the process of writing it, to the next level. So a lot of times I do find where I have a lot of authors who they're not really sure of who it is that they're writing the book for or who they have written it for if the book is already done. And so I wanted to take a couple of minutes today and to talk to you about how to find your target audience. It's not as difficult as it may seem, but the rewards for you taking the time to think about it and work it through are going to just be amazing for you and for your book. Okay, so again, it's important to think about your target audience because it helps you to determine who is actually going to be reading your book, right? Okay, so it helps you determine exactly what it is that you're writing. So let's say you're in the process of writing your book right now. It's going to help you figure out what it is that you're writing. If you're writing a book that you know is supposed to appeal to both men and women, you're going to write it differently than if you know that you're writing a book specifically for women. There's just a different way that we communicate, a different way. There's different things that you can say to us that you can't say to a man, right? You can't be nice and fluffy with the man because they're not going to take it the same way that we do, right? Okay. Also, it helps you to market your book because if you know exactly who it is that you are writing your book for, it's going to help you know where to find those people. And, I will tell you this, appealing to everybody, it never works. All it does is it makes you spastic, and you will find that your book sales are actually not going to be as good as you want them to be than if you actually could focus and you knew exactly who it is that you were going for. So let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing that you need to do when you're trying to find your target audience for your book is start with you. Start with yourself. You are the best indicator of who is going to want to read and buy your book. Now, what you do is you're going to determine why you wrote the book. That's the first thing you need to do. Think about why did you write it? For me, when I was writing my latest book, Smarty Puffs, and I was writing the book, I knew that I wanted to write the book for children of color. It's a book that teaches children how to speak Spanish. So I knew that from the get-go. And I knew that because I'm a parent. And so I was looking for different books and materials to be able to teach my children how to speak another language. And I really couldn't find any where the books appealed to my children. And so I decided to write something like that. So figure out why you wrote your book. Did you write it for a special reason? Did you write it for your children? Is there an answer that you've been trying to find? You couldn't find it. And now that you found it, you want to be able to help other people discover the same answer, right? So that's the first thing. Start with yourself. Second, this is when you're going to look at the groups of people that you're targeting. And the way that you do that is to also look within yourself. And what you're going to do is you're going to almost fragment yourself. Sorry, y'all. I actually brought my tablet in here with me today because I wanted to make sure I had my notes right. Okay. So split yourself off as a person. Who are you as a person? So if we look at myself, we're taking my same book, Smarty Puffs, okay? We're taking that book. As a person, I'm a mommy. I'm an African-American mother. That's 3 different parts of who I am, right? I'm also an educator, okay? So as an educator, there's a specific way that I wanted to write the book to appeal to other educators, all right? To make the book more credible, okay? And that's just a couple of pieces of who I am. So by doing that, it's already helped me to open up a few different places that I can go once the book is actually written. Again, what did I say? I'm a mommy. I'm a mother of small kids. So I know what I'm looking for those children. So it helped me when I was putting my book together. Second, I know exactly who to go to. I know that I'm looking for other moms and fathers that are just like me that want to give their kids, the opportunity to learn a second language. The second thing I said is that I'm African American. So I know that I wanted the book to target children of color. So the way that I write the book, the way the characters look is going to appeal to the African American audience. I'm an African American woman. There is a specific way, and I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, that McDonald's and other big blockbuster, companies are really good at this. They're good at targeting a specific audience depending on where they are. So, for example, if you're in an urban area, you're going to find a lot of African American people are going to be in their ads, right? So, and the way that we speak to each other is different than how, a Latino demographic would speak to each other. So if you go to Texas, you're going to see a lot of Latinos represented in a lot of the ads, depending on where you are in Texas, right? Okay. So that's kind of what you're thinking about as well. You're fragmenting yourself and you're thinking about yourself in terms of, the different parts of you so that you can go to those different groups, okay? The other thing that you're going to do is you're going to find other books that are within your genre, okay? And then you're going to do research on books like that. The easiest way, the free 99 way to do that is to go to Amazon, to go to Barnes & Noble, whatever your favorite online bookseller is. And for free, you can search for books that are in your genre. So for example, with Smarty Puffs, when I was looking for books, that were like that, I started typing in bilingual books for kids because, again, I'd already kind of narrowed down who the book was for. I knew it was for children, and I knew that parents were going to purchase the book, right? So I started looking for other books that were within that same genre. And what I did was I found those books. The very first books that pop up are usually the top books in that particular category that you're looking for. Okay. So I zoned in, or I honed in on those particular authors. I actually researched that author. I went to their website. I looked at who they were targeting. I looked at the people that were leaving them reviews. I looked at, the different places where they were going. Were they on the radio? Were they on TV? How were they getting there? I looked at all of those things from that author, and that helped me to determine where my target audience was. By me doing that, I actually found that there were a few authors that were going to Head Starts, right? And they were doing author talks, at their local Head Start. And so when I thought about that, I said, man, I'm an educator, right? And I never thought to start at the very beginning of Head Start. So that will help you to also zero in on your target audience, right? Number 4, what makes your book special? Try to pinpoint what makes your book different. So if your book is already written, what sets your book apart from everybody else's book, right? Because again, that's going to help you determine who you're going to go after, how you're going to go after that particular buyer. Okay. Also, if you're in the process of writing your book, then that's a good time for you to think about what makes my book different, or what am I going to do to make my book stand out from everybody else that's in the crowd? Because most certainly there are going to be other authors in your genre, right? There's going to be other books. So what's going to make your book different? What's going to make your book stand out amongst the crowd, okay? Number 5, what's the demographic of your book? What does that person look like? For me, Smarty Puffs, I knew that the child that I'm looking for, they are 0 to 6 years old, right? And I know that I'm looking for parents of children that are 0 to 6 years old, right? So that is the demographic. Now, clearly, everybody can benefit from my book, but in terms of who I am targeting, it made it easier for me to think about it in those terms, and it really helped me to narrow things down. When you think about your demographic, who does it help? Right? Again, like I said, what's the person's age? And then when you think about that, who outside of that person might also be interested in your particular book? If you've written a devotional book, is your book for men and women? Is it just for women? What is the subject matter? Are you talking about forgiveness, so like, let's think about it. If you're speaking on a book and you're dealing with forgiveness and you're dealing with a book for women. Hi there, Latanya. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're focusing on forgiveness, then where can you go for that? Hi there. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've written a book like that, then where can you go? You have women's groups. You have the women's auxiliary in your church. You can go to support groups. There are so many different places that you can go. Is there a particular group? If you wrote a devotion, will single mothers be able to benefit from your book, right? There are so many different places. Hi there, Pastor Deborah. Thank you so much for joining me as well. Thank you. So when you're thinking about your target audience, that demographic really helps you to zero in on who it is that you are targeting. So let's just go ahead and do a quick recap, okay? In my park scope, right? I'm surprised I haven't had any children knock on my window today. It's pretty nice. Okay. So let's start from the very beginning. Number one, it all starts with you. You are the best indicator of who you are writing for. So think about, why are you writing your book? Are you writing this book to encourage people? Are you writing this book because you were looking for information in a particular subject and you couldn't find anything? So you decided to write a book after you did find the information. Okay. You are your best indicator. The second thing that you're going to do is now you're going to kind of split yourself apart, and you're going to break yourself down into different groups, because now you need to determine what groups of people would be interested in my book. So once you've said, okay, this is the reason why I wrote my book, well, let's look at you even further. Like I said, for myself, when I wrote my book, Smarty Puffs, I knew that was a book for children, and I wanted it to be for children of color. So when I looked at myself as a person and I started to break myself down and fragment myself, number one, I'm a mom. I was a mother of small kids, and I wanted them to learn other languages just like I had the opportunity to do as well. Also, I'm an African American mother, so I knew how to connect with the African American audience. All right. Number three, I'm an educator, so I knew I wanted this book to be educationally sound, if that makes sense, so that a teacher could take this book and they could use it within their room, right? So if you think about who you are you a minister? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Are you a minister? If you're a minister, then who could benefit from your book? There's so many different places that you could go. It looks like I have I thought I'd frozen for a second. Okay, so you might be a minister. Latanya Boyd wrote the book, Rock Your Faith. So here we are, Latanya, if I may use you, Latanya, for a split second. Latanya is a marketing coach. She has over 20 years of marketing experience, working not just with authors, but working with really big brands. She never brags on herself, so I do it. Okay. So when she was writing her book, Rock Your Book, and she was teaching people in this book, if you haven't gotten it, you need to get it, how to rock their book like a rock star, how to take it, how to market themselves like a rock star. She knew that she had 20 years experience. So what does that do? That gives her the ability to say, okay, I can look outside of myself and I can give people a bird's eye view on how to market themselves. Secondly, she is a book marketing coach, so she now knows what people need. She's an author. So as an author herself, she was able to fragment herself there and say, okay, for authors, this is the problem that authors have. This is what authors could do to better position their books. All right. So that's just three things. She's a woman. So there's a different way that women can appeal to other women. And there's a way that women should appeal to men. And so you think about all those things when you are marketing your book. All right. Pastor Deborah is getting ready to release an amazing book. Okay. I'm not going to break down her book because her book is coming out in probably the next week or two, but her book is just amazing. But in looking at what she does, Pastor Deborah has an amazing testimony. And so she's using her book to do that. She also travels as a missionary. So she's been all over the world. So there are a bunch of different people that can relate to her. She's a woman. Okay. So her book of faith, she's also somebody who understands faith. She's been tried by the fire and she understands faith. 4 different ways that we've broken down Pastor Deborah right there. Okay. For her book, 4 different groups of people that she can talk to. She can talk to other missionaries. She'll be able to speak to other women who are going through similar situations, where in her testimony, you'll be able to read that. She's going to be able to connect with people who need to deepen their faith. So whether or not you've dealt with exactly what she's dealt with, you're going to be able your faith is going to be strengthened because of her faith. Okay. So that is the way. Yeah, she said, my autobiography is not about me. Thank you, Jesus. Listen, let me tell you, it's such an amazing story of faith. My faith, I've been able to take lessons from her book, from her story, and I've been able to apply them to my own life. And I'm telling you, when her book comes out, All Things Well, okay, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be blowing it up over here. You're definitely going to want to look at that. But just taking her and looking at her, we broke her down into 4 different things that she does as a person, right? I haven't even said everything that she does. She's a pastor, she's a mom, she's a wife. But those are a bunch of different groups that Pastor Deborah can look to and appeal to and say, is this my audience? So, and finally, your demographic. How old are the people that you're looking for? You might find that your book is going to appeal to folks that are 25 and older. And that's great. You might find that your book is appealing to, like in my situation, Smarty Puffs appeals to 0 to 6 years old. And it appeals to parents of children 0 to 6 years old and teachers who teach preschool, right? And you will find that as you are doing all these different things, you're going to be able to zero in on an audience that you didn't even know was there. Oh, I missed one. Also, do your research on your book. If you know that you have a book that's coming out, you know what you're writing about, or if you've already written a book, go to Amazon, go to Barnes & Noble online, bn.com, Amazon.com, and research books that are in your genre and see those very top books. Absolutely. Those top books that are in your genre, and research the author. See how that author has positioned themselves. Who are they appealing to? Because you're going to find that their audience might have somebody in their audience that you never thought about that could very well be in your audience. Listen, I would love to work with you. Whether you need somebody to coach you through the writing process, or maybe your book is already done and you need to get the book published, you can find me at www.tamikainc.com. Listen, oh, hi there, Maria. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, you're proud of me. Thank you so much. It makes me blush. Thank you guys so much. Listen, remember you were created to make God famous. I love y'all so very much. You guys have a blessed day. I think I might be coming back today. We'll see. I got a couple of coaching sessions, but if not, I'm going to tell you how to use your target audience and how to maximize that for the growth of your book. So, all right, you guys have a blessed day.